Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about England as the welfare state. After the Second World War, the Labour government became the powerful government, that is, it was in power, and that Labour government only introduced the welfare state. It applied recommendations from the pioneering civil servant Sir William Beveridge and aimed to wipe out poverty and hardship in society. In December 1942, William Beveridge, who was a senior civil servant, he identified five giant evils that plague the society. And these five giant evils are disease, want, ignorance, squalor, and idleness. Squalor means being dirty, no hygiene, that is only a squalor. And he published his findings in a popular report titled Social Insurance and Allied Services. Britain's national insurance system had previously been looked after by different agencies, including charities and government departments, and was in a very fragmented state. In recommending new ways to relieve the five giant evils, Beveridge became known as the father of the welfare state, although he disliked the term. Beveridge had social security in mind. In return for paying a national insurance contribution, the citizen would gain security against the major ills. Beveridge insisted on the contributory element to the program as he did not want to damage people's sense of independence and personal responsibility. Neither did he want to redistribute wealth between classes, believing people should be free to better themselves if they had the ability and possibility to do so. First measures. The first of Beveridge's proposals came into effect before the war ended. In 1944, a Ministry of National Insurance was set up in Newcastle, and in June 1945, the Conservative government passed the Family Allowances Act. The payments were 5 shillings for every child per week, lower than Beveridge had proposed and only given from the birth of the second child. Campaigners were pleased, but further progress had to wait for the general election in June 1945. The result was a landslide victory for the Labour Party under Clement Attlee. Attlee had campaigned hard under the banner of the creation of a welfare state and now seized upon Beveridge's proposals as a basis for radical action. National insurance and assistance. Beveridge recommended that means testing and other fragmented approaches to helping those in need be replaced by one system. All workers would pay into a national insurance scheme run by the government instead of insurance companies. There would be a flat rate contribution and everyone would be entitled to a flat rate benefit. The flat rate for unemployment or sickness insurance would be high enough and long lasting enough that there would be no need for public assistance. In order to remove poverty, there would be extra benefits that provided for children and health care. Overall, there was very little opposition to government plans. This was surprising as Beveridge himself did not want people to become dependent on the welfare state and wanted benefits to be fairly limited. National Insurance Act 1946. The National Insurance, that is NI Act, was passed in 1946. National insurance now became compulsory for all workers except married women. Most people paid almost as much as they received for each child in family allowance per week. In return, workers received benefits for interruption of earnings as a result of illness and for unemployment or old age. For the elderly, a state pension was paid when men reached 65 and women reached 60. Older workers were encouraged to continue working, and 2/3 of men decided to carry on rather than take up their pension. Mothers received a lump sum on the birth of each child, and if they had been paying national insurance, received an allowance for 18 weeks. A death grant gave widows help with funeral expenses, and as an extension to the scheme, the Industrial Insurance Act gave compensation for people injured or killed at work. The hope was to have all of Beveridge's plans in operation by 1948, but this did not prove possible. The benefit provided was not based on a national minimum standard of living. Government fixed one rate, promising to review it every 5 years. Although Beveridge had proposed benefits for divorced women, women looking after parents and sickness benefit for housewives, these measures were not included. National Assistance Board 1948. All these benefits only apply to insured workers. So in 1948, the National Assistance Board was set up to cover those not insured. The National Assistance Board took over the old public assistance committees, and for the first time, without the earnings of their families being considered, claimants were interviewed to see what kind of help they needed. Means testing was ended. Labour governments also tackled some of the other ills Beveridge identified. The slum clearances that had effectively begun after the Luftwaffe bombing in the Second World War continued, and a huge house building program was instituted. In 1948, Labour set up the national health services, and since there was already a free compulsory state education, the people of Britain now possibly had the most comprehensive welfare system in the world. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.